Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Hey everybody. Okay, this picture of me is me totally breaking my diet. Well, when I'm in Hawaii, I'm just gonna eat. Anyway, we just have a few stories to cover and my thoughts about some of the video that showed up from the funeral. So let's just jump in, shall we? Let's go. We are starting off with photos that were taken at the state dinner that was held at Buckingham Palace the night before the funeral. This is the dinner that was started, all the controversy about Harry and Meghan were invited, then they were uninvited. Then they found out they were uninvited by the press, and come to find out they were never invited, neither was Andrew, because this was for working royals only. And of course, with the conversations that were taking place during this, there could be absolutely no chance of somebody coming in with a wire and taping people surreptitiously. We know about the whole Netflix thing. They're still containing content. I showed you the video from the walkabout the other day. It hasn't stopped. By the way, there's lovely Johnny on the left. Hi, Johnny. How you doing? Apparently, when the Queen's coffin was lowered into the vault so that she could be alongside Philip during the commitment ceremony that took place at Windsor, she apparently, this is not going to be her final place. She is going to be taken by car at there'll be a third service. Apparently, I think they said it'll be about 7:30 p.m. And she's going to be interred with her mother, her father, and her sister. Very nice. Now, of course, during the service, Harry was looking on as the Queen's coffin was lowered into the royal vault. And he had to be looking at this thinking to himself, gee, maybe I should have taken one of how many invitations to go visit her? How many times did she invite us? How many times did I say no, including 3 days before she died? Uh-huh. All right, just a quick little note. I wondered what happened to Sarah Ferguson. I didn't initially see her, but apparently she was at the funeral. She was there with her daughters, and she said wonderful things about the Queen, that she was, the world's greatest mentor. She looked, lovely as usual. And I have to say, personally, yes, she did a lot of crappy things in her life, but she was a good mother to her daughters. I'm glad she was included in the service. All the Queen's children took her death very hard, as you would expect. Andrew, as he was walking behind the coffin, was very tearful, fighting back, the tears. And Edward, when they were at the church, the second church, was seen wiping away tears with a handkerchief. Sophie also was extremely emotional. It's always going to be emotional when you say goodbye to your parents, Poor Prince George was also quite emotional at one point during the service, bless him. Prince Harry was in the second row, and at one point he was seen looking to the left in the front row where William was sitting with his family. Here's just a little clip. Watch this. Now, of course, Harry and Meghan fans were insisting that because they were in the second row, somehow it was a snub. And of course, now the palace is fighting back. They're not going to take this crap anymore. And they're saying it was not a snub. He's not a working royal. My goodness, he was seated right behind the king. What more do you want? Now, also very interesting, Meghan was completely obscured from the TV views by a giant candle. And I also noticed that when they were at the second ceremony, whenever the camera caught Meghan, they switched to a different view. And I simply wanted to know if that was done intentionally. And there was some other weird stuff going on. Like at this point, did you notice everybody's standing, but Meghan was sitting down? Now, I have to tell you, while they're outside, Charlotte apparently has been paying close attention to protocol, and she was making sure that George was behaving himself. Watch this. You know, I wonder if this exchange woke Harry up from his whatever. Watch this. I mean, the kids don't know him anymore. He was such a presence in their lives, and now Charlotte was just like scooching as far over to her mother as she could get. And talking about Charlotte, she was wearing her first piece of significant jewelry. It was a diamond brooch in the shape of a horseshoe. I think that's a lovely tribute to her grandmother who loved horses so much. Yep. Catherine Middleton's mother was there, looking absolutely gorgeous. And of course, Catherine looked absolutely gorgeous herself. Her looks are just so timeless. You can just see the stress and grief on Catherine's face. My goodness. Anyway, when the service was over, Meghan and Harry jumped into the car. Meghan went first, which was very odd. Watch this. For those of you who don't know, the reason that's odd is the man usually gets in first so the woman doesn't have to slide over in the seat. Yeah, but she always has to go first. And now the stories are coming out that now that the funeral is over and Charles is going back to work, and he's hoping that with everything that's going on, Harry and Meghan can stop attacking the monarchy. And I agree with what Baroness Buck said here. It was in the article that in the early days, the Queen would excitedly take Harry's calls, but over time, it absolutely changed. And the Queen was perplexed by Harry's constant complaints. Yeah, I could totally get that. So, yeah, I think towards the end, she wasn't accepting their calls anymore. I believe it. And you should know, William suggested that titles for their kids be held back until after the book is released, which I agree with. Next, I want to move on to baby grandma, who made the comment on my channel that when she cries, tears come from the corner of her eyes, not down the middle of her face like the one tear on Meghan Markle's face. And my other follower, Bibi, pointed out that tears come from the corner of the eye because the tear ducts are in the corner of the eye, and that's a false tear, and she thinks I might be right about creating it. Well, she's absolutely right. I didn't even notice that. I didn't think about that until I saw that she said that. So anyway, all the newspapers talked about, oh, Meghan was just so bound up in grief and she was crying, and you could just see the tears coming down. And then this video showed up. Watch this.
Now make yourself cry.
Yeah. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy. You're like, Meghan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
Now, in the meantime, Tom Bower, who wrote the book Revenge, came out and said that Meghan wasn't crying for the Queen. She was crying for herself, and she wasn't close to the Queen at all. Let's not forget she was rude about her in the Oprah interview. She basically slammed the woman's 70 years worth of work. She's damaged the monarchy. No, the royal family doesn't have any great love for Meghan Markle at this point. While he did say that she absolutely was acting today, he at least threw her bone and said that at least she behaved properly and didn't draw attention to herself the way that she usually does. I agree. Now, something else came to my attention. Do you guys remember in the 2019 Commonwealth Service when Harry and Meghan literally flew out of the line they were in to get in front of Sophie and Edward? Do you remember that? Watch this. They tried to do that at the funeral, and William and Catherine cut them right the heck off. I couldn't believe it. Watch this. Now, another interaction that took place today that was very interesting was when Charlotte turned around and stared at Meghan. Watch this. Now, another story that just came out said that Meghan actually sent a letter to King Charles asking for a one-on-one meeting with him, supposedly to try to make amends with the family. And here's the problem that I have with that. I think Meghan has already shown herself to be untrustworthy. The family is well aware that she lied. I don't see how she could make amends unless she and Harry made a public statement where they admitted that they might have, quote unquote, stretched the truth just a bit, and said that maybe the family didn't make the racist statements and maybe they took things out of context. But I think we all know that that will never happen. Now, another bit of information. During the service, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, told attendees that those who serve will be loved and remembered. But in all cases, those who serve will be loved and remembered when those who cling to power and privilege are long forgotten. And people are saying that that's a dig at Harry and Meghan, and I believe it is, and I think it's well deserved. Absolutely. All right, really quickly, Harry is accused of not singing God Save the King. I showed you the video yesterday. He does not appear to be singing, but here it is again. Now, one more interaction took place, and I wonder, because I always thought Eugenie and Jack were good friends with Harry. So could somebody please explain to me what this is? Watch this. Something definitely is going on there. Yeah. Harry was giving him the stink eye, and those glasses became the new scarf. Interesting. All right, guys, so this is a much shorter video than usual, but again, I'm on vacation. I hope everybody is having a great week this week. I'm feeling much more rested and rejuvenated. Sleeping in, it's nice. All right, don't forget to leave those comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you've already hit that button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, and Rumble. You can email me. And for those of you who have donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.